Almost everything you did today, you did to avoid one question. The work, the noise, the phone in your hand the second things go quiet. Most of that, honestly, is just you not wanting to be alone with one thought. And here's the thought. If life has no meaning, if one day all of this just stops, and that's it, then why are we still doing it? Why get up tomorrow at all? That's it. The biggest, heaviest question there is, and what to actually do with it. Because the cost of running from that question, the thing you do to numb it, whatever it is, the scrolling, the drinking, the staying busy, it doesn't just numb the question, it numbs everything. The good stuff too. You go a little dead inside, and you can live like that for years, half awake, waiting for some reason to show up that, let's be honest, is never actually coming. Now, one man didn't run from it. He sat down right in front of that question and just looked at it. And he said something strange. He said it was the only question that really matters. Everything else, every other big idea in philosophy, comes after you deal with this one first. His name was Albert Camus, and his answer wasn't God, and it wasn't giving up either. It was a third thing. A strange, tough, weirdly freeing third thing that almost nobody understands. And by the end of this, you will. It won't make you feel better, exactly. I want to be honest about that. It'll do something better than feel better. It'll make you feel awake, maybe for the first time in a long while. One quick thing before we go in, because on this one it really matters. That question, why keep going? It can be a cold little puzzle you poke at for fun. Or on a bad night, it can be a real wound. If it's a wound for you right now, if this is heavy in a way that's got nothing to do with curiosity, then please, hear this part first. A video is not a person. There are people whose entire job is to sit with you in the dark, and they're a phone call away, and reaching out to one of them isn't weak, it's just smart. Get that first if you need it. Camus will still be here after. Okay, so Camus said there's only one serious question in all of philosophy, and it's whether or not life is worth living. Everything else, he said, whether the universe is big or small, how the mind works, all of it, comes later. First, you have to answer the question underneath. Do I keep going? Is there a reason to? And look, he wasn't being dramatic for the sake of being it. He was just being honest in a way almost nobody is, because that question really is sitting under all the other ones. You can spend your whole life decorating around it. The job, the goals, the someday. But the someday is built on a floor, and the floor is this quiet assumption that continuing is worth it. And most people never once get down and check if that floor is actually there. Camus checked. He got down on his hands and knees and looked. And what he found is what we're going to talk about. To get his answer, though, you have to understand the problem the exact way he saw it, because it's easy to get wrong. He gave it a name. He called it the absurd. And the absurd isn't a mood. It's not sadness. It's not depression. It's not a bad week. It's a mismatch. It's what happens when two things crash into each other and neither one will move. The first thing is you, a person, built from the ground up to want things to mean something. You can't help it. You look at the sky and some part of you wants it to mean something. You hurt and you want the hurt to be for something. You ask why, constantly. From the time you're a little kid asking why is the sky blue, all the way to lying awake at 40 asking, why am I even here? That hunger for a reason isn't a flaw in you. It's the most human thing about you. And the second thing is the world. And the world doesn't answer. It's not cruel. Cruel would almost be better because cruel at least means somebody's paying attention. No, the world is something worse than cruel. It's quiet. It just doesn't care. It spins and burns and keeps going, and not once in all of history has it leaned down and told a single person what any of it was for. You ask the question with everything you've got, and what comes back is nothing. just the sound of your own voice. That crash, right there, that's the absurd. Not the silence on its own, not the wanting on its own. It's the gap between them. You needing a reason, meeting a world that won't give you one. Picture standing at the edge of a huge canyon and yelling a question as loud as you can and waiting for the echo, and it never comes back. Not a wrong answer, no answer. That drop in your stomach, that's the thing Camus is pointing at. And here's the part that matters. He says this isn't your fault. You didn't fail to look hard enough. There's no book you skipped, no class you missed. You can't outthink your way to the answer because there isn't one to find. The absurd isn't a problem you solve by being smarter. It's just the deal of being a thinking creature in a world that doesn't think back. You were born wanting a reason into a place that doesn't have one to give. That's the whole situation. And step one, honestly, is just to stop pretending it's anything else. And you felt this, you have. You maybe just didn't have a name for it. It's that flat second on a Sunday afternoon when everything's fine, the bills are paid, nothing's actually wrong, and out of nowhere this quiet little voice goes, "Is this it? Is this the whole thing?" That's not depression talking, that's not you being ungrateful. That's just the absurd, poking its head up through a normal day. It's the gap showing itself for 1 second before you cover it back over. And most of us feel it, get uncomfortable, and immediately reach for something, the phone, the fridge, the TV, anything, to make that voice shut up. And it works for a while, but the voice doesn't actually leave, it just waits. And it comes back, usually at night, usually when you're too tired to outrun it. Camus' whole move is to stop running from that voice, to turn around and actually look at it. Because he thought the thing we're all so scared of, that quiet little "is this it?" isn't the enemy. It might be the most honest moment you get all day. So now we're standing where Camus stood. Life has no built-in meaning, the world won't hand you a reason, and the question comes up, cold and reasonable, so why keep going? And this is where almost everyone reaches for an exit. There are 3 of them. And I want you to watch for all 3 as we go, because you've almost certainly taken at least one. Camus looked at each one, and underneath every single one, he found the same thing. They look like answers, they're all just ways of giving up. The first exit is the one most of the world takes. When the silence gets to be too much, you fill it. You decide there is a meaning after all, somewhere above the silence, behind it, beyond it. A plan, a purpose, a reward waiting at the end for everyone who's suffered well. And look, this brings real comfort to real people, and Camus wasn't interested in making fun of that. But he called it a leap, a jump, because what you're really doing in that move is refusing to stay with the question. The quiet scared you, so you invented a voice to fill it. You couldn't stand not knowing, so you decided to know something that you don't actually know. It's covering your ears and calling the silence a song. And Camus had a sharp little name for this move. He called it philosophical suicide. Not the real kind, the kind that happens in your head. Because when you take that jump into a belief you can't actually back up just to make the discomfort stop, something in you quietly dies, the part of you that was honest enough to keep asking. You don't kill yourself, you kill the questioner. You put the part of you that felt the problem to sleep so you don't have to feel it anymore. And Camus thought that was a real death, the death of the most alive part of a person, the part that refuses to pretend it knows things it doesn't. The believer is still walking around, still eating breakfast, still going to work, but the questioner inside him got quietly smothered. And Camus would rather stay awake and uncomfortable than buy his peace at that price. The second exit is darker, and it's the one the question seems to be shoving you toward. If there's no meaning, the thinking goes, then there's no reason to stay. So the logical move is to leave, to stop. And here you have to follow Camus really closely, because his answer is not what you'd guess. He doesn't say leaving is wrong because some rule says so. He says it's wrong because it makes the exact same mistake as faith, just from the other side. Watch this. Both of those exits secretly agree on one thing. They both assume that life is only worth living if it comes with a built-in meaning. The believer says there has to be a meaning because life would be unbearable without one, and it can't be unbearable, so the meaning must be there. The one reaching for the end says, there's no meaning, and life's only worth it if there's meaning, so it's not worth it. Same math, just a different sign in front. Both of them have quietly decided that your life needs an outside reason before it's allowed to keep going. One invents the reason, the other, not finding one, calls it quits. Camus throws out the whole equation. He goes, wait, who told you life needs a meaning before you're allowed to live it? Where'd that rule even come from? You've been carrying it around like it's a law of nature, and it isn't. It's just an assumption. And it's the assumption that's quietly crushing people, not the silence. The silence is just the silence. It's the belief that the silence disqualifies you that's the thing doing the damage. Pull that belief out, hold it up to the light, and there was never anything under it. And here's the third exit, the quiet one. The one faith and giving up are the dramatic versions of, but almost nobody actually picks either of those. Most of us pick this one. It's distraction, it's numbing, it's just filling every silent second so completely that the question never even gets a chance to form. Camus saw this one too. You don't have to answer the absurd to get away from it. You just have to make sure you're never alone with it. And we are so good at that now, better than anybody in history. The second a gap opens up, a pause in line, the quiet between two tasks, that last minute before you fall asleep, the hands already reaching for the phone before your brain even notices it's reaching. We built a whole world whose secret job, underneath everything else, is to make sure no one ever has to sit in a quiet room with that question for more than about 4 seconds. The scroll, the binge, the drink, the little hum of something always playing, the being so busy you wear like a badge. None of it is evil. All of it is a painkiller. And a painkiller has a cost you don't see on the label, because the thing you're numbing isn't just the bad feeling, it's the feeling. All of it. The nerve that feels the dread is the one that feels the sunset, and when you deaden it to dodge the dread, you deaden it for the good stuff too. You can't numb just one thing, so you drift through your one and only life at half volume and you call it coping, and the years just quietly leave. And you stay comfortable and absent, and you never once meet your own life face to face. Camus thought this was the saddest exit of the three, sadder than faith, sadder than the end, because at least those two were honest choices made by someone who actually looked at the problem. This one isn't a choice at all. It's a slow drift into never really having lived, dressed up as a normal, busy life. So, if all three are just ways of giving up, what's left? This is the part almost everyone misses, the part that honestly took a strange kind of guts to even say out loud. Camus gives it a name, and the name sounds way bigger than it is. He calls it revolt. Not revolution, not a fist in the air, not a cause, none of that. The revolt he means is on the inside, and it's quiet, and it's the hardest thing on this whole list. It's deciding to look at the absurd, full on, without making up a god to cover it, and without using it as a reason to quit, and to keep living anyway. To just stay in the tension, to hold both true things in your hands at the same time. There's no meaning, and I'm still here. Both, at once, for good. Think about what that takes. The believer gets to put the tension down by deciding the silence is full. The one reaching for the end gets to end the person asking. Revolt won't take either of those off-ramps. Revolt says, fine, I'm going to keep wanting meaning with everything I've got in a world that's never going to give it to me, and I'm not going to lie about either half of that, and I'm going to get up tomorrow and do it again. That's not despair. Despair would be easier, honestly. Despair has an exit. This is staying in the room with the question and not flinching, day after day, on purpose. And don't picture this as something big and cinematic. It's not a guy on a cliff shaking his fist at the sky. It's a Tuesday. It's getting up when the thought told you not to bother. It's doing the small, honest thing in front of you when nothing's making you, and nobody would notice if you didn't. It's deciding quietly 100 times a day to stay present in a life that gave you no reason to. Some days that costs you almost nothing. And some days, the days when the rock feels welded to the floor, it costs you everything you've got, and you do it anyway, and no one sees, and there's no trophy. And that unseen, unpaid, stubborn keeping going is the most heroic thing a person ever does. The hero here doesn't look like a hero. He looks like a tired person making coffee, deciding, without telling anybody, to keep going. That's the whole rebellion. It's invisible, and it's constant, and it's yours. And out of that refusal, something opens up that you really don't see coming. What opens up is freedom, real freedom, the kind that's almost too big to look straight at. Because follow it, if there's no big cosmic meaning, then there's no cosmic rule book either. Nobody wrote down what your life is supposed to be. There's no final judge sitting somewhere with a clipboard checking whether you became what you were meant to become. And that's terrifying for about 10 seconds, until you get what it actually means. It means all those standards you've been breaking yourself against your whole life were never handed down from on high. You picked them up, from parents, from school, from the internet, from 1,000 voices that all sounded so sure. You spent years carrying a weight you assumed was the law, and it turns out it was just other people's opinions wearing a costume. When you really see the silence, the weight comes off, not because nothing matters, because nothing matters automatically, which means you're the one who decides what does. You get to choose what you value instead of just absorbing it. You get to ask, maybe for the first time and honestly, what actually matters to me? Not what was I told should matter, not what would look right, but what, when I'm alone and nobody's grading me, do I actually think is worth my one stretch of time? That question is yours to answer now. Nobody can answer it for you, and nobody can answer it against you. The same silence that took your meaning away handed you in the same breath the freedom to make your own. It took the map and gave you a pen. And sit with how strange that is for a second. For most of your life, you felt your values like walls, things you weren't allowed to question, fixed points you had to arrange yourself around. And the absurd walks in and goes, those walls were never holding anything up. They were painted on. You can walk right through them. And that's dizzying, a little sickening even, the way standing somewhere really high is sickening, because part of you was leaning on those walls to stay upright. But once the dizziness passes, what's on the other side is the first real room you've ever stood in. Empty, yeah. Quiet, yeah. But yours, finally, completely yours to fill however you want. Now, people hear this and they get nervous because freedom this total sounds like permission to do whatever. And that's not what he meant. He wasn't saying nothing has consequences, go nuts. He was saying the opposite, and this is the part the soft versions of him always skip. Because there's no afterlife to even the books, this life is the only one there is. Which doesn't make it less serious, it makes it way more serious. Every moment isn't weightless. Every moment is the only one of its kind that will ever happen. There's no second pass, no do-over, no heaven where it all gets explained and the pain gets refunded. This is it. And that's not a reason to treat your time like it's worthless. It's the only real reason to treat it like it's priceless. Which brings us to the next piece. After revolt, after freedom, Camus had a word for it. He called it passion, but the plain word is just presence, being here, now, in the one moment that actually exists. And here, he says something that sounds insane the first time. He says the absurd person lives without a hope. And your whole body wants to argue, because hope's supposed to be the good thing, right? The thing we'd tell each other to hold on to. But look at what he means by hope, exactly. He means the habit of pinning your life onto a later that never actually arrives. I'll be okay when I graduate. I'll be happy when I make more money. I'll really start living when things calm down, when I meet the person, when the situation finally settles. Always when, always not yet. And the whole time you're waiting for the real life to start, the actual life, the only one you get, is running out through your fingers like water. That kind of hope is a thief. It steals today to pay for a tomorrow that keeps backing away from you. Camus says, put it down. Not because the future is going to be bad, because the present is where you actually are. It's the only place you've ever been or ever will be. And the opposite of that hope isn't despair. The opposite is presence. It's being here, in this hour. Not because it's a stepping stone to a better one, but because this hour is your life, right now, happening. The coffee isn't a thing to get through on the way to the day. The coffee is the day. The conversation isn't filler before the important part. There is no important part coming. This is the important part. It was always the important part. And I know how that sounds. Be present, live in the now. You've heard it 100 times on 100 apps. It's basically wallpaper at this point. But strip the wellness gloss off it, and what's underneath is actually kind of brutal. It's this. You have been somewhere else for most of your life. Physically in the room, sure, but mentally 3 steps ahead or 2 days back, replaying or rehearsing, anywhere but here. How many meals have you eaten without tasting a single bite? How many times has somebody been talking to you and you were just waiting for your turn to talk? How many drives, how many showers, how many entire afternoons have just vanished because you weren't actually in them? That's the part that should scare you. Not death, the slow disappearing of a life you technically lived but were barely awake for. So presence isn't a nice little bonus. It's the whole difference between a life you were in and a life that just sort of happened near you. And the wild thing is, it's free, and it's available right now, this second, and it's still the hardest thing on this entire list, because every system around you is built to pull you back out of it. Camus didn't leave all this floating in the air, by the way. He gave it faces. He pointed at certain kinds of people and went, look, these ones already live this way, and most of them never read a word of philosophy in their lives. He called them the absurd heroes. And I want to walk you through them quick, not as careers to go chase, that missed the whole point, but just as proof of one thing, that a human life can be lived all the way to the edges without a reason underneath it. These aren't role models, they're just proof. First one's the conqueror. Not an emperor, not a tyrant. He means anybody who throws themselves into doing something, knowing full well it leads nowhere permanent. The person who builds, who fights, who commits all the way to a thing while knowing the thing will end. The win is temporary. Whatever they put up will eventually come down. The conqueror doesn't act because he thinks he's building something that lasts forever. He acts because acting is being alive, and being alive is the only reward there is, and it gets paid out now, in the doing, not later in some final report that doesn't exist. The doing is the point. There's no other point coming, and he stopped needing one. Second one's the actor. Think about what an actor actually does. He pours everything into a character, lives a whole life inside somebody else for a couple hours, feels real feelings for a person who doesn't even exist, and then the lights come up, and it's gone. Nothing's kept. And he doesn't walk off stage destroyed by that. He knew going in it was temporary, and he gave it everything anyway. And that was the whole point. He's made his peace with something most of us haven't. That intensity doesn't need to last forever to be worth it. He shows you that you can pour yourself completely into something that won't last, and that's not a waste. It's actually the only honest way anything ever gets lived. The third one's the lover. And here Camus is careful, so I'll be careful too, because this one's easy to turn into something ugly. He doesn't mean somebody who uses people. He means somebody who loves without the fairy tale, without the story that there's one perfect soul out there who's going to show up and complete you and finally make the silence stop. The absurd lover doesn't believe anyone's coming to fix the hole in existence, because the hole isn't a romance problem, it's just how things are, and no person can fill it. And here's the strange result. Exactly because he's not asking another human to be his meaning, he can actually see them. He can love the real, mortal, temporary person right in front of him for exactly who they are, instead of resenting them for failing to be a cure. Take that impossible job off somebody's shoulders, and what's left is lighter and a lot more real than the fairy tale ever was. And the fourth one, the one Camus loved most, is the creator, the artist. Because the artist is the absurd hero in the purest form there is. Think about what art actually does in cold, practical terms. A painting feeds nobody. A song cures no disease. A poem doesn't bring back a single person you've lost. By every useful measure, art is useless. It makes nothing the body needs. And yet a person will spend a year of a life they're never getting back, making one, and call that year well spent. Why? Because making something is the loudest possible no to the silence. The world won't give you meaning, so the artist makes some. Not real meaning, not final meaning, just one more, a new way of seeing, a shape that wasn't there before. It's a person standing in front of a world that doesn't care and going, "You gave me nothing, so I'll make something." And the fact that it's unnecessary is the whole point. The uselessness isn't the flaw. The uselessness is the defiance. Anything you do because you have to survive isn't free. The thing you make for no reason, that nobody asked for, that buys you nothing, that's the freest thing there is. And you don't have to be a professional anything to do it. A meal made with attention, a room you set up with care, a sentence written to nobody, a song you hum in the kitchen with the door shut. Every little act of making something where nothing was needed is a tiny revolt, a tiny refusal, a person going, "I was here, I made this, and it didn't have to mean anything to be mine." Okay, let me make this real because it's easy to nod along to all of this and then go right back to sleepwalking. Picture an ordinary day, yours probably. The alarm, the dread that shows up before your eyes even open, the commute you don't even remember doing, 8-9 hours of something that doesn't light you up, that you mostly do so the other parts of your life can keep existing. The scroll where you watch little curated clips of other people's lives and quietly decide everybody's doing better than you. The evening that just evaporates. Sleep, and then the alarm again. Same rock, same hill every single day. And you can feel the repetition sitting on your chest. And somewhere in there, right on schedule, the late night question shows up. What's the point? Why this? Why again? Now here's what Camus does not do. He does not tell you to quit your job and go find your bliss. He doesn't promise that the right attitude will make the spreadsheet meaningful. That's the soft, dishonest version, and you'd smell it in a second. What he does is harder and quieter. He says the rock isn't going anywhere. The repetition's real. The job will still be the job. But how you meet it, that's the one thing that's all the way yours. You can spend those 9 hours as a guy waiting for them to end, gone, absent from your own life, postponing, resenting. Or you can actually be inside them, awake, choosing to do the thing well because you chose it, having the real conversation instead of the empty one, noticing the 5 minutes that are actually yours and being all the way inside them. Same day, same rock, completely different life. Not because anything changed out there, because you stopped waiting to be rescued from your own existence and started actually living in it. That's not a small thing pretending to be big. That's the whole difference between being alive and just not dead yet. Before we go further, I want to draw a hard line. Because everything I'm describing is one short step away from getting turned into garbage, and that step gets taken constantly. The wellness version of Camus is everywhere now. Embrace the absurd, find your bliss, choose happiness. The rock is heavy, but your attitude is light. It gets printed over a photo of a sunrise and sold back to you as a vibe. And it's a lie, and you can feel that it's a lie, which is probably part of why you're here and not there. What Camus is offering is not positive thinking, it's the opposite of positive thinking. Positive thinking tells you to look away from the hard truth and stare at the bright side. Camus tells you to look right at the hard truth, the hardest one there is. Don't look away and keep living without the bright side, because there isn't one coming, and you're a grown adult and you can carry that. This isn't a philosophy that makes you feel better, it's one that makes you feel real. And those are not the same thing. And our whole culture has worked really hard to make you forget the difference. Feeling better is what the painkiller's for. Feeling real is what's left when you finally put the painkiller down. Camus isn't here to comfort you. He's here to tell you the truth and then stand next to you in it, which is rarer and worth a lot more than comfort. Because comfort wears off, and the truth doesn't. And here's something else that opens up once you stop demanding a meaning. And it's the last thing you'd expect from a philosophy that started in silence. Other people. Because here's what happens when this really lands. You look up from your own struggle and you realize, maybe for the first time, that it was never just yours. Every person you walk past is carrying the exact same impossible thing. Every one of them woke up this morning into the same silence, wanting the same answer, getting the same nothing back. The stranger in traffic, the person handing you your coffee, the face across the room you'll never talk to. all of them pushing a rock up a hill with no top. You're not the only one who noticed the world never answered. You're surrounded, completely surrounded by people in the exact same hopeless, dignified situation as you. And that realization can do something no shared belief ever could. It can connect you to people without needing you to agree on anything. You don't need them to hold your values. You don't need them to pray like you or vote like you or want what you want. Strip all that away, all the layers of belief that sort people into the right ones and the wrong ones, the saved and the lost. And what's left underneath is just this: two living things, awake for a moment, in a world that won't explain itself, both still trying. And that's enough for kindness. It might be the only foundation for kindness that doesn't eventually betray you, because it doesn't depend on the other person staying on your side of some line. It just asks that they're human, and that they're facing what humans face. It changes love too, the close kind, the kind that keeps you up at night. Because the absurd lover drops the fairy tale. And dropping it sounds like it'd make love smaller, colder. It does the opposite. When you stop demanding that a person be the meaning of your whole life, you stop holding them responsible for a job no human can do. And you can finally love the actual person in front of you, instead of the role you cast them in. You love them not because fate set it up, not because they complete some equation, but because you chose them, and you keep choosing them. And being with them makes the short time more alive than it'd be alone. That's a sturdier love than the fairy tale, because it doesn't shatter the second the other person turns out to be a real, flawed, mortal human instead of a cure. And then there's the other side of love, the part nobody wants to look at: loss. Because if you love without the fairy tale, you also have to grieve without it. When you lose someone, the absurd offers you no hidden lesson, no reason it happened, no plan you were too small to see. The silence that wouldn't explain your life isn't going to explain their death either. And that sounds unbearable, until you notice what it spares you. It spares you the horrible job of digging through a catastrophe looking for its secret purpose. You don't have to torture yourself hunting for why it was meant to be, because it wasn't meant to be anything. It just was. And it was real, and what you had was real while you had it. And the pain you're carrying now is exactly the size of how real it was. The grief isn't a problem to solve. It's love with nowhere left to go. You carry it, and you don't insult it by pretending it was part of some plan. And one more thing falls away when you take all this seriously, and losing it might free you more than anything else on the list: failure. We're terrified of it. We build whole lives around not failing, not looking stupid, not falling short of some standard. But run it through the absurd for 1 second. In the end, it all dissolves. The wins dissolve, the losses dissolve, the reputation, the record, the score, all of it goes into the same silence for the celebrated and the humiliated alike. From the only really long view there is, the gap between your biggest win and your worst embarrassment is exactly 0. And that's not depressing. That's the most freeing sentence I know. Because it means the fear that's been quietly running your life is built on a scoreboard that doesn't exist. There's no permanent record. There's no committee keeping track of your falls. So you're free. Free to try the thing you've been too scared to try. Free to be a beginner, to be wrong out loud, to look like a fool, to change your mind, to chase something that might not work. What's the worst that happens? You fail, and the world doesn't notice, the same way it wouldn't have noticed if you'd won, the same way it won't notice any of us in the end. The stakes you've been so scared of were never cosmic. They were always just other people's opinions and your own fear wearing the mask of consequence. Take the mask off, and the fear's got nothing left to stand on, and you can finally do the thing. So, let's go back to Sisyphus, because this is the picture Camus builds the whole thing on, and most people get the ending dead wrong. You know the story. Sisyphus angered the gods, and they cooked up the most precise punishment they could think of. He has to push a giant boulder up a mountain, and the second he gets it to the top, it rolls right back down to the bottom, and he has to walk down and start over. Forever. No reward, no progress, no escape. effort with 0 point, on repeat, for eternity. The gods figured there was no worse fate than pointless work that never ends. And Camus looked at that, the bleakest picture in all of myth, and said the strangest sentence in modern philosophy. He said, "We have to imagine Sisyphus happy." Now, here's where I'm going to break with the comfy version you've probably heard, because the soft reading turns Sisyphus into a smiling guy who learned to love his rock, who found his bliss in the boulder, who's basically fine now, thanks to a good attitude. And that's greeting card Camus, and it's a lie. Sisyphus isn't happy the way you're happy on vacation. Look closer at the part Camus actually sits with. It's not the pushing, it's the walk back down. That pause after the rocks rolled away again, when Sisyphus walks down the mountain alone, fully awake, knowing exactly what's waiting for him, knowing it'll never end, knowing there's no point. That moment of total clarity, that's where Camus puts everything. Because in that moment, Sisyphus has every reason in the world to be destroyed, and he isn't. He's not lying to himself that the rock will stay up next time. He's not waiting for the gods to change their minds. He's not pretending there's some hidden purpose that makes the labor worth it. He sees his situation perfectly. No comfort, no illusions, nothing. And he picks up the rock anyway. And in that choosing, made with open eyes and 0 delusion, the punishment quietly fails. The gods built the whole torture on one assumption, that a man crushed by pointlessness would beg or break or stop. And Sisyphus does none of those things. He looks the pointlessness dead in the eye, and he keeps going. And he keeps going as himself, awake, unbroken, not begging. The rock's still pointless, the mountain's still going nowhere, but the man is free. They gave him an eternity of nothing, and he turned it into the one thing they couldn't take, the dignity of facing it without flinching. So, no, I'm not going to tell you Sisyphus is happy. I'm going to tell you something better and harder. Sisyphus is unbeaten. And unbeaten, it turns out, is a deeper thing than happy. Happy comes and goes with your circumstances. Unbeaten is a stance you take towards circumstances that are never going to improve. Happy is what you feel when the rock stays up. Unbeaten is who you are when it rolls back down to the 10,000th time, and you walk down that hill to lift it again on purpose, with your eyes open. That's not a consolation prize. That's the whole prize. It's the only prize the absurd allows. And it's enough. And it's more than the world ever promised you, which was nothing at all. So let's bring it home, into your actual life, no gloss on it. If you take Camus seriously, a few things change, and none of them are comfortable, and all of them are real. First one, stop waiting for a reason to show up. It's not coming. There's no morning where the meaning of your life gets delivered to your door and the question finally goes quiet. If you're holding your life hostage until the justification arrives, you're going to hold it forever. And forever is the rest of your life spent in a waiting room for a bus that doesn't run. The waiting is the trap. You don't need the reason. You were never going to get the reason. Live without it. That's not settling. That's the whole point. The reason was never the price of living. You just believed it was. Second one, take the verdict back. You've been letting some imaginary judge decide whether your life counts, whether you're doing it right, whether you measure up. Pull the judge out of the chair. There's nobody in it. The standards you flinch against got put together by people just as lost as you, guessing in the dark, and you swallowed their guesses as commandments. You're allowed, right now, to ask what you actually value and to build a life around the honest answer instead of the one you inherited. And that's scary because it takes away your excuse. As long as the rules came from outside, you got to be a victim of them. The second you admit they're yours to choose, the responsibility lands right on you. Camus thought that landing was the beginning of being a grown-up. Third one, stop measuring your insides against everybody else's outsides. The scroll is a machine built to convince you that strangers found the meaning you're missing. They didn't. They're pushing the same rock in the same silence with better lighting. Comparison only works if there's a correct way to live that you're falling behind on. And the whole point is, there isn't one. There's only your way, chosen by you, lived by you, ending the same way everybody's does. Their highlight reel has nothing to teach you about your one wild afternoon of being alive. And the fourth one, the one that ties it all together, let the ending make the middle precious instead of pointless. Yeah, it ends. It ends for everybody, and your name gets forgotten, and the stuff you built dissolves, and the world won't pause to notice you're gone. The soft philosophers treat that like the bad news to manage. Camus treats it like the source of the whole thing, because the fact that it ends is exactly what makes any of it matter. A thing that lasted forever and meant nothing, that would be the real horror. A thing that's short and yours and never coming again, that's not horror. That's the most valuable setup there could possibly be. The edges are what make the picture. The silence at the end is what makes this sentence, this hour, this person in front of you count. You don't get this back. That's not a tragedy. That's the reason to be here for it. So we come back to the question we started with, the one that shows up in the dark for almost everybody. If life has no meaning, why are we still living it? And I think, if you followed all the way to here, you can feel that the question was built wrong from the start. It assumes meaning is the toll you pay to keep going. It isn't. Living was never something you had to earn with a good enough reason. Living is the thing itself, the ground everything else stands on, and it doesn't need a reason under it any more than the sky needs a floor. Why are we still living? Because we can. Because being here, awake, present, choosing, is better than the alternative, and it doesn't need permission from the universe to be worth it. Because the silence that refused to give us a meaning also handed us the freedom to make one. And that trade, scary as it is the best deal honesty allows. Because every ordinary morning you get up and lift the rock again, with no guarantee, with no reward, knowing exactly how it ends, you're doing the one genuinely free thing a person can do. You're saying yes to a life that owes you nothing, and a yes given freely to a world that promised you nothing, asked you for nothing, and gives you nothing back. That is not a small thing. That might be the biggest thing you ever do. You're the modern Sisyphus. The alarm is your mountain. The repetition is your rock. The silence is the same silence the gods gave him. And the walk back down the hill, that awake, clear, unrescued moment where you decide whether to break or to keep going, that walk is yours, and it happens every single day, and nobody can take it from you. You don't have to be happy, you just have to be unbeaten. Lift the rock, stay in the room, keep your eyes open, say yes. That's the answer. Not because it's comforting, because it's true. So here's my question for you. In one word, what keeps you going, even when you already know there's no point? One word. Drop it in the comments. I read them.